I'm James Lang, and for my oral component for Dr. Campbell's course, AML 2020, I will be talking about The Yellow Wallpaper written by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Just a short summary of the story. It begins with a narrator being told to spend a few months in a house because her husband John will believe this kind of rest will cure her. The narrator believed this house to be an old nursery for young children because of the wallpaper and bars on the window. As more days go on, the narrator in her journal entries states how intrigued she is becoming with the yellow wallpaper that the room is covered in. She also must hide her journals because she doesn't want her husband to know that she has been writing because she stated the fact that John doesn't like her to write. As days go by, the narrator begins seeing a woman that is trapped behind this wallpaper, and that this woman wants to break free because she would start shaking at the bars and trying to escape the room. The story then ends when the narrator becomes completely insane and she believed that she was the one trapped in the wallpaper the whole time. John, her husband, frantically opens a door and faints at the sight he sees of the narrator, and now she is forced to creep over him every time. Some points I want to touch up on in this story is the fact that this story is an attempt to criticize the 19th century and how women were treated during this time. Constantly throughout the story, the narrator talks about how she disagrees with her husband's prescription but refuses to say anything because in the 19th century, women rarely voiced their opinion to men. In a documentary written by Gilman, Why I Wrote the Yellow Wallpaper, she described that she too went through a nervous breakdown tending to melancholia. Gilman then went to see a specialist in nervous breakdowns, and he prescribed her to a rest cure in which she could not work but only rest. Gilman did as the specialist said for a few months, but she then came to a point of almost going insane that she threw out that idea out the window and went back to work and eventually wrote The Yellow Wallpaper. Once Gilman had finished the story, she sent it to her specialist, but didn't receive a reply. Rula Cuevas described the story to be a form of rebellion against all ridiculous medical practices that kept women out of the profession and didn't allow them to get a job anywhere. Although Gilman believes this story was mainly about the idea of disagreeing with unwise prescriptions, Sean St. John, a writer who believes that this story is not only disagreeing with the prescription, but it also is an encouraging feministic classic, stating it has changed the world for women in the 19th century. The Yellow Wallpaper was an instant classic as soon as it was posted in New England magazine in 1891, and it is still read today in classrooms and by readers everywhere. And this concludes my oral presentation of The Yellow Wallpaper.